Today we're looking at the 11 biggest talents currently being wasted in the NBA. Now, some of these talents are getting wasted because these players chose to be loyal, chose to take the money, because their teams have just refused to trade them, or for a couple other select reasons that we'll get to later. Now, first off, we have an honorable mention, and that goes to Devin Booker. Without a doubt, his talents have been getting wasted his entire career, because while he's been one of the best shooting guards in the entire NBA, the Phoenix Suns have done a terrible job of building a team around him, which is why in his 5-year career, this was the first time he's ever led them to over 30 wins in a season and has never made the playoffs. But with all that said, the reason I'm only having him as an honorable mention is because, especially with their performance in the bubble, it looks like finally the Suns are headed in the right direction. They got DeAndre Ayton, they got a young Kelly Oubre, Ricky Rubio, and some solid role players. Even with that though, you know I'm probably wrong, and the Suns will either mess things up somehow, or just come out next year playing worse. But I'm trying to be positive and have faith here, so honorable mention for the Phoenix Suns. But before we get into that, I want to give a quick shout out to Fubo TV for sponsoring today's video. Now, if you're one of the 80 million Americans who are fed up with paying high cable prices and dealing with shady companies, Fubo TV is an alternative that gives you the same cable experience for half the price. And it comes with over 100 of your favorite channels, including all the big sports networks, where you can watch any sport: soccer, football, basketball, baseball, and some games and events even stream in 4K. Plus, there's a huge variety of shows and movies that are all included too. Now, my favorite part about it is that you can record any game or show with just the click of a button, then watch it back anywhere from any device. There's other streaming services, but they can't compete with the amount of entertainment for the price that Fubo TV brings you, which is half the cost of cable TV. And it's easy to sign up. It takes 2 minutes to start streaming, and you can try it free and cancel anytime. Just sign up risk-free for a 7-day trial of Fubo TV and get 15% off your first month by going to FuboTV.com/sweat. That's FuboTV.com/sweat to start your free trial and get 15% off your first month. FuboTV.com/sweat. Links in the description. Shout out to them for the sponsor. Now back to the video. For the actual number one, we're starting things off hot with Steph Curry. Now, the obvious thing here would be to say, oh, his talents got wasted this year because the Warriors had the worst record in the league because everyone was injured. Well, no, that's not what we're doing. We're looking at things on a bigger scale, because Steph Curry actually is currently in the process of having one of the big wasted talents of all time. I've mentioned this here and there in a couple videos, but now I want to finally get a little bit more into it. At 26 years old, Steph wins his first MVP award and a championship. At 27, he goes 73-9, wins unanimous MVP, makes the NBA Finals, and is at the top of his game, playing at levels we've really never seen before, in the prime of his career. And you're telling me that that's when Kevin Durant has to come along, join the Warriors, and basically cause the 2-time consecutive MVP to take a back seat to him, ruining Curry's chance at winning more straight MVPs, which he very well could have, ruining his chance to really prove himself in the NBA Finals, and the chance for him to continue to add on to his all-time legacy. I mean, it's just a little disappointing that KD came and took away the spotlight. And this year was terrible for the Warriors with all the injuries, and now with everything going on in the world, who knows how long it'll be until next season actually gets started back up. Probably by the time it does, Steph Curry will be just about 33 years old. You know, the age when most star players start to slow down. I guess his talents won't be getting wasted once next season finally starts, but in a video talking about talents being wasted, this one had to be included. Number 2, Mo Bamba. We'll be quick about this one because I've talked about it recently, but I just want to know what the Orlando Magic are doing here and why Vucevic and Mo are still on the same team. Hey, now if the Magic are slowly developing Bamba and letting him learn from Vucevic and waiting until he becomes a more well-crafted player to pass the torch to him, or just trade Vucevic, I'm fine with that, because he has a ton of potential, but he does still have some things in his game that still clearly need a lot of work. But we're talking about the Orlando Magic here, and assuming they're trying to slowly develop a player would just be giving them way too much credit. So we're just gonna say they're wasting his talent right now. And I've never been a fan of having a younger player with a lot of potential come off the bench for an extended period of time anyways. The best way to learn is actually playing in the game, and playing just 14 minutes every night isn't gonna cut it. Look at all the other young players in the league that are actually turning into stars. Jason Tatum, Luka, even Brandon Ingram. They've all become great from actually playing. Number 3, Julius Randle. Any player stuck on the Knicks is definitely going to have their talents wasted, and that's no exception for Randle. The situation for a guy like RJ Barrett's a little different though, because he was a rookie, he still needs time to develop. But clearly Randle's ready to help a playoff team right now, and instead of playing in the postseason and taking a team to the next level, he's in New York getting beat by 30 every night. I'm not mad at the situation though. He was looking for the first big contract of his career, and the Knicks were willing to pay him the most, so he took the $63 million over 3 years. years. After that, he may try to leave to a playoff team or might even get traded before then, but for now it's still a little disappointing to see us 20 and 10 a night, meaning absolutely nothing on a bad team. Number 4, Bradley Beal. I really don't have much to say with this one. Beal didn't have to re-sign with the Washington Wizards if he wanted to win games, but it was a smart money move. He signed a short-term, very good contract with them and has the potential to sign a supermax contract with them in a few years if he makes it that long. I'm assuming that's what he plans on doing. And hey, if I'm him, I'll lose games the rest of my career too to sign a $250 million contract. So we can't hate on it, but with John Wall's contract and Washington's bad track record, if he never gets traded, his talents won't only be getting wasted currently, but they could definitely end up being wasted for the rest of his career. Number 5, Jrue Holiday. Jrue's been one of the NBA's most underrated players since he's been drafted, and he's also been on bad teams for probably 75% of his career. The 76ers were bad in the early 2010s when he played there, and the Pelicans either haven't been a playoff team or weren't a very good one, even when they had Anthony Davis. But even through it all, New Orleans never traded him, and they still haven't, which has been surprising. So his talent's been wasted a lot in his career already, but if things keep up and they continue to not trade him, it looks like they'll continue to get wasted. Don't get me wrong, with this team developing another year, they could definitely make the playoffs soon, and maybe he'll be useful then, but I don't know, it just feels like for the stage that the Pelicans are in right now, Jrue Holiday could be used a lot better somewhere else. Number 6, we got Damian Lillard, and this is another one I just recently talked about, so it'll be quick. But it's just the fact that Damian Lillard is in the prime of his career right now. He's already 30 years old, and up until this point, the Blazers haven't done a great job of getting him talent to play with. They've had 8 years to make him a championship squad, but instead, along with some help from a few select teammates, he's pretty much carried the Blazers every year to one of the best records in the league, to the conference finals and all. But I don't know, I just feel like they could have done a lot more, and especially for him to be on the Blazers this year, where it came down to the last game for them to even make the playoffs. For that to happen with Dame playing how he was, they're doing something wrong. It's at the point now where if he stays there, his talent may never get used in the way that it should. 7, Bol Bol. I know I might be jumping ahead here. This is probably too soon to say it because I trust the process with the Nuggets, but I'm just including them in this video anyways. The Nuggets mindset all year was on a championship, so it's hard for them to include a rookie Bol Bol into their lineups and their rotations. Well, he still needs some work with parts of his game, so it makes sense. They sent him to the G League to refine some of his skills and had him play down there while they took care of things during the regular season, just until he's ready. And they took things pretty slow with Michael Porter Jr. too, but for him to have not played a single minute of a regular season game until the bubble is a little questionable, and he's really played no minutes in this year's playoffs at all. Now again, there's really no rush on him, it's still his first season, but we saw how good and effective he was in some of those scrimmage games. I just hope this trend doesn't continue on until next year, or else they really will be wasting his talent. For now though, we'll give them a pass on this one. Number 8, Blake Griffin. The Pistons traded for Blake Griffin so they could finally try and make an impact with him alongside Andre Drummond. Well, Blake got hurt right in time to miss the playoffs that year in 2019, missed pretty much this entire season with knee problems, and with Detroit basically trading Andre Drummond away for salary space, the Pistons' playoff hopes are over. Nobody's lining up to play in the city of Detroit, and even more players aren't lining up to play with the roster that they have. Let's be honest though, the Pistons really had no chance when Blake was first traded there either. So his talents have pretty much been getting wasted for at least the past 2 seasons, and now it'll be even more, especially if his knee problems continue, because that'll mean no one would dare make a trade for him. And if Detroit's in this bad of a position right now, that means Derrick Rose's talents are also getting wasted, so we can go ahead and throw him in with this one. Number 9, while on that note, we can also talk about the fact that Andre Drummond went from getting his talents wasted on the Pistons to now getting his talents wasted on the Cavs. I really have no idea what Cleveland's doing. Are they slowly trying to build a playoff team based around Kevin Love and Andre Drummond? That's obviously not going to work. They have them, some talented young players, and some below average role players. And they were still the worst team in the NBA. I just don't know their game plan here. Like, they re-signed Kevin Love instead of trading him, and then traded their expiring contracts for Andre Drummond. I think they're just a terrible team hoping to randomly get really good, which is why Drummond's talents are getting wasted, and so are Kevin Love's, who comes in at number 10. And there's just nothing that needs to be said here. They needed to trade him right after LeBron left, but instead he's been getting wasted for the last 2 years. Then finally for number 11, we got Karl Anthony Towns, and I was a little hesitant about even including Towns here. His talents definitely have been getting wasted these past couple of years, but now with D'Angelo Russell on the team, I think they have a bigger chance to turn that narrative around, as long as they keep developing the rest of the roster, which they have always had problems with. But the other reason I was hesitant to include Towns was because even with him being a superstar level talent, the Wolves have been terrible in recent years. But at what point is there a level of accountability here? And sure, that could be said for every other player on this list that I just mentioned, but the only difference is nobody else in this video got majorly called out for their work ethic like Carl did. So that's when you ask yourself, is this just the team's fault, or if he worked harder would they have more wins? And is his talent only getting wasted because he's not using it to its full potential? But that's all we got for today. I know some of these can be controversial and not all of us are gonna have the same lists, so comment anyone I might have missed, comment anyone you think should have been included and why, drop a like, subscribe with notifications on, and I'll catch you next video.